I am the witness, the silent observer of all tales, the keeper of truths you would rather not know. The story I bring to you now is of one of music, of madness, and of a monster that feeds on the naive and the curious. Listen carefully, for the song still plays, and it waits for you. The town of Stillwater was a quiet place, nestled in a valley surrounded by hills thick with trees. It was a place where little ever happened, where people locked their doors early, not out of fear, but out of habit. But there was one rule that everyone followed, no matter who they were. Never follow the music at night. For most, the rule was simple. On certain nights, when the air was still and the moon hung low, a faint melody would drift through the town. It was the sound of a pipe, hollow and haunting, playing a tune that was as beautiful as it was eerie. The old folk said it came from the hills, carried by the wind. Some believed it was just a trick of nature, while others whispered of the hollow piper, a creature that lured the curious away. Most didn't care to test it, that is, until Emma did. Emma was 17, restless and reckless in the way that only teenagers could be. She didn't believe in ghost stories or monsters. The piper was just a tale to keep kids inside at night, she thought. So when the music came that autumn night, soft and lilting, she ignored the warnings. She slipped out of her house and followed the sound, her curiosity drowning out her fear. The melody led her into the forest, the trees casting long shadows under the pale moonlight. The further she walked, the louder the music grew, wrapping around her like a spell. And then she saw it. In a clearing bathed in silvery light stood a figure. It was tall, impossibly tall, with limbs that bent and stretched unnaturally. Its face was obscured by a mask of bone, carved with hollow eyes and a jagged mouth. In its elongated hands it held a pipe, fashioned from something too pale to be wood. It played, and as it played, the shadows around it moved. At first Emma thought they were animals, wolves or deer, but as her eyes adjusted, she realized they were people, or what used to be people. They moved jerkily, their forms twisted and broken, their hollow eyes locked on the piper. The melody stopped. The piper turned its mask toward her, and the world seemed to still. Emma ran. The shadows reached out to grasp her. The sound of the pipe started again, but now it was sharper, more frenzied, a tune that made her head throb and her vision blur. She stumbled, fell, and turned to see the piper looming over her. Its mask seemed to shift, the jagged mouth curling into something that might have been a grin. It reached out, and as its fingers brushed her skin, she screamed. When they found her the next morning, she was sitting at the edge of the forest, staring blankly ahead. Her hair had turned white, and her eyes, they were empty, like the light inside her head had been snuffed out. Emma never spoke again. The piper hadn't taken her, but it had left its mark. You have heard the tale, and now you know. The hollow piper is real, and it is waiting. Should you hear its song, resist the urge to follow, for curiosity is a poor shield against the darkness, and the piper always collects its due. The music might call to you one day, soft and sweet, a melody that tugs at your soul. When it does, remember this story. For I am the witness, and I have seen what happens to those who do not listen.